I don't know as it's necessarily the common philosophy of the Jewish tradition to believe in astrology and so on, but I think that it was something that was definitely studied, pre-Christian, part of the pre-Christian era, and the nature of the Jewish tradition was very much of a, at one time, and still is, but then it was more prominent, a very holistic tradition that looked at the principles. I always think of the Jewish tradition as being something that's very involved with health, and certainly their whole aspect of kosher food and foods that are eaten and prepared on a daily basis had very much to do with very practical matters that were related on a spiritual and physical level. So things like shellfish that eat a lot of
they're bottom feeders.
Right, they eat the bottom. And pork, which wasn't as a rule a terribly healthy eater either. Pigs didn't eat very healthy things, although this new movie Babe definitely has given us some new ideas about that. And how pigs are really quite gentle, wonderful characters. But anyway, I think it's interesting that the Jewish tradition also, as I understand it, the Torah, there's a long, thin piece of a thing that has a hand on the end of it. And the rabbis, when they use this to turn the pages of the Torah. And the reason why they do that is because the oil from the hands shouldn't get on the book.
What that is, it's called the pointer. And if you have ever been to a Jewish ceremony, whether it be a bar or a bat mitzvah or a Shabbat service, or when they read the Torah, which is done 3 days a week, Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, if my education has been correct, when they are reading from the Torah, the person who is reading will put the pointer at the point where you have to then say the blessing over the Torah and then work with that. It is a very interesting custom because people are not supposed to touch the Torah because of first of all, on the material that it is made, things like that.
Right. I mean, it's both. It's practical, the oil from the hands, but it's also because you're supposed to honor the belief that's in it. So only people that have really very strong respect, such as a rabbi or someone in a position of responsibility and recognizes the importance of what they're doing. It's both the physical and the spiritual.
I've never seen somebody take a finger other than when it's wrapped around the talesim, which is the prayer shawl, and touch it. So you're probably right there.
Anyway, I think it's interesting that all of these traditions, the other thing about the Jewish tradition is their holiday, their day of the week, which is Saturday. And, in the ancient belief system, in astrological ancient belief system, I don't know how much of this is taught in Jewish Israeli schools or whatever, but it is the day of Saturn, Saturn's day. And the ancient belief is that Saturn was the ruling god of the Jews. And one of the things that Saturn is known for is the ability to have rules and structure. And certainly I think the Jewish tradition is something that is very much into rules.
Oh, you can
structure.
say that again. There is, I believe, 641 different prescribed laws that are in the Torah. It's very interesting how each of the segments has one or two laws that are mentioned there by name. But if you're interested in this, there's a great book called The Code of Jewish Ethics, and it goes through all the laws that are there. We have a phone call. Should we do that?
Sure.
Okay. Sarah, are you there, Sarah?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Sarah's calling from Katona. Her date of birth is January 27th, 1971, 12771.
Actually, it's September 27th.
September 27th.
Yes.
Well, we'll try again. Good. I'll learn how to read next time. 92771, you're on with Mary Michele.
Thank you.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi. So, I was just interested in, I haven't really been to a successful relationship in relationships for quite some time. So I just wanted to know if there might be a change coming soon for me, or is this going to continue for a little while longer?
Okay, September 27th, 1971. You have the sun in Libra, as you know. You have the moon in Capricorn. This is a hard angle. Libra, as you know, is the sign of relationships. The nature of the person that has the sun in Libra, their life is about learning how to be diplomatic, working with other people. But one of the downsides of this is that they can often give their power away. They can allow other people to make decisions for them. The sign of Capricorn, where the moon is also a cardinal sign. So it's like there's a hard angle between your conscious and your unconscious, and this would relate to your relationships. As a rule, you are someone that probably needs to be in a position of authority in the relationships. With the moon in Capricorn, you have a very strong sense of structure. This comes from your mother. Your mother was probably somebody that did give you structure, and probably she gave you either very good ideas about security or gave you perhaps a few problems around security. But security is a bit of an issue for you. Now, this year, in terms of security and your daily routines and rituals and habits and stuff, you're having a lot of luck. Your ability to change any patterns you'll be able to do it. It'll come with greater ease. So if in the area of your relationships you would like to alter the way you perceive them, any way that you choose to do that, any field of study or any questions you may ask, anytime you take a risk of looking at things a little differently, things will come back to you pretty easily. Mercury in Virgo, Venus in Libra. Okay, so you have a Sun-Venus conjunction. In terms of attracting people this year, it's probably a little bit more about, you're probably going to have to go after people in terms of, instead of being the flame, which is normally the domain of Libra, you're going to have to be the moth. You're going to have to go around and try to get around the flame. So if there is somebody that you're interested in, you're going to have to take the initiative a little bit more than you have in the past.
Thank you very much. I very much appreciate that.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank you for calling. We're going to get to Maria just a couple of seconds away. We're talking to Mary Michele, taking your calls on astrology, 241-1310. We will be back in exactly 1 minute.
Are you thinking of making a dramatic change in your home? Beauty, elegance, and simple efficiency to any of your rooms? There's a simple solution, and you'll find it at Champion Tile.
Here in the neighborhood, conveniently located across from the post office in downtown Bedford Hills. Champion Tile has a huge selection of Saloni ceramic tile from Spain, Century shower and tub enclosures, and the finest imported tiles from Italy for your individual taste, and all under one roof.
Ceramic tile not only adds beauty to any room, but nothing compares with their strength and durability. And you know, of course, they're so easy to clean and maintain.
Champion Tile has one of the largest supplies of Italian and Spanish ceramic tiles in the entire area, and hundreds of decorative borders as well. And what's more, at prices that can't be beat.
It's Champion Tile beyond all others. Champion selection for neighborhood service, for savings without equal.
And for your convenience, Champion Tile is nearby in downtown Bedford Hills, across from the post office. For your tile, simply dial 666-2828 for Champion Tile. 16 and a half past the hour. Let's get back to the phones now. Mary Michele is here, and we've got Maria on the line from Shrub Oak, watching on cable channel 12. Date of birth is February 10th, 1959. Did I get it right, Maria?
Yes, you did.
Oh, good. For the first time this morning.
Oh, Mike.
Maria, what do you mean, oh, Mike?
You're very good with details, Mike. Maria, did you have a particular question?
Yeah, I do. It's a career-related question. I've been having I feel very stuck in my job. I love my job. I love my boss, but it just feels like I should be doing more.
Okay.
And I'm not sure. Maybe my chart can tell me which way I should be looking.
Okay. 210. 59. Okay, the sun in Aquarius, as you know, the moon in Pisces. Certainly for the last couple of years, there has been a lot of confusion around your emotional life, your security. Your feelings have been a little chaotic. So, of course, this can relate in many different areas of your life, but if it's specifically in the job arena. Mercury in Aquarius, Venus in Pisces. This is very nice, a Moon-Venus conjunction. This this would indicate to me that you're in the realm of relationships. You are someone that is probably pretty good at them. You're someone that is able to sustain the right amount of time in relationships and have a certain amount of compassion for the other person. The Sun in Aquarius, of course, is someone that can sometimes give their power away, because they tend to think of the general, the great collective. Aquarius is the sign of the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, and all of that was about humanity. So the nature of Aquarius and Mercury and the Sun in Aquarius, you might tend to think a little bit too much about social issues, and perhaps ones of a very forward-thinking nature. Are you involved? Is the work that you do, is it socially conscious in some way?
Law.
The law, okay. Well, certainly, things around environmental law or nuclear law or things that have to do with greater social connections. That doesn't mean that, it can also be brought down to a very specific level of working with, people that have transgressed the law. But I would think that your motivation behind the law is pretty vast. It's not, I know the laws, when one gets into it initially, it's kind of an idealistic thing anyway. Otherwise, you probably couldn't stick with it because it's a tough profession. But I think that yours is perhaps a little greater than most. Is there a particular area of your work that is bothering you, that is not working the way you want it to?
It just seems that at the moment I have a very hard time balancing my family's needs with my career. It's pulling, the emotional chaos is truer than you may, well, probably not, but it's immensely true. It's very difficult for me to have enough time for everything.
I'll tell you, the last 2 years you've dealt more with the family. So I think right now, and there's probably been a lot of, confusion around the family, and that's been very disturbing. That, the thing about our emotional memory is we tend to hang on to things a little longer. Once the difficulty has actually passed, we tend to remember, and we're afraid because we remember that we didn't do all the things that we would have liked to have done. We have regrets in our family life. But really, as of the first week in April, there was a big shift for you around that, and you no longer have to worry that your family's getting from you what you need more. And with Uranus, the planet that rules Aquarius, having moved into its own sign in January, you probably are getting a lot of new possibilities in the law, and you should follow them, I think.
Okay, that helps.
You trust your family. It'll be there, and they know and can sense what you're going through. They know that you're there for them.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, that helped a lot.
Okay, thank you for calling. It's 20 minutes past the hour at WVIP. We were talking about the Jewish religion and astrology for just a couple seconds. You were saying about health reasons. Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking about some of the laws which do prescribe that you have to take a ritual bath at certain times and things like that, so you are pure in the eyes of God. So very, very true.
Even the idea of circumcision, I think. It's about this cleanliness. I mean, we tend to think, certainly in the Western culture, we think of circumcision as being something that comes from the Jewish tradition more than, Christian or whatever. And I think it comes back to this idea of cleanliness. Although it was pointed out to me the other day that, another reason why this idea of circumcising someone so that they can clean themselves without too much trouble might have been from some kind of a puritanical belief that if you're trying to clean yourself, that you might be stimulating yourself. So there's kind of a connotation there that there are a couple of things going on.
Well, there's also by the way, circumcision, and for a Jewish boy, it's called a bris. That takes precedent over everything because it's a covenant between the Jewish people and God, supposedly, that on the 8th day your son will be circumcised, so they are now part of the Jewish faith. I mean, even during Yom Kippur, which is the holiest of holiest days in the Jewish calendar, if you have a son who was born 8 days before, that bris takes place that day. I mean, you're not going to have a party for it, which is normally the other part of it, but it has to be done that day because of the covenant between God and, I believe it was Now I have to go back and forget it.
Well, anyway, I think it's kind of humane, too, to do it at that age because it's probably a little less, the trauma of birth has been so great that this might seem a little less.
And then you have my grandmother who says, you remember?
Yeah.
So, things like
Whereas
that.
other traditions, they might wait until 12 or 13 years old, and that I just can't even imagine.
That is true because in some of the other, the African and the subcontinents, they do it at that age. All right, we're talking to Mary Michele, taking your calls on astrology at 241-1310. 241-1310. We will be back in exactly 1 minute.
Who says good home cooking and friendly family service is hard to find? All you have to do is visit the Corner Store in Bedford Hills. For over 4 years, the Camberari family has been satisfying our taste buds with delicious food at reasonable prices. And the Corner Store treats you like family with reliable service and a warm smile. Using only the freshest ingredients and a lot of TLC, the Corner Store offers a special tasty menu for each day of the week. Whether it's fresh pasta, a hearty sandwich, or a healthy salad, the Corner Store is the place for takeout with taste. Their hours are weekdays 6 to 6 and Saturdays 6 to 5. Catering for all occasions is now available as well. Their number, 666-5224. Mention WVIP and you'll get a ham, egg, and cheese sandwich and coffee for only 99 cents. Family service, good home cooking, people you know and trust. The Corner Store, located at Church Street and Babbitt Road in Bedford Hills. 666-5224.
All right, we're back with Mary Michele, taking your calls on astrology at 241-1310. You were showing me some nice pictures just a couple of seconds ago.
Yeah, I wanted to, in as much as we were talking about Israel and so on, and, the whole tradition, the Israeli tradition, this is a page of stamps from Israel with the 12 astrological signs. So just to show that, I'm not saying that the whole Israeli Jewish tradition is interested in astrology, because certainly there are a lot of people that have their doubts about it. But it is something that is reinforced in certainly the art. And I think it's interesting on the stamps, because the stamps are really what takes you out into the world and shows you to other people. Stamps, represent the country. So I think it's interesting that they have, the 12 signs of the zodiac on their stamps. Speaking about this idea of controversy, probably the person that was the most well known for this was a woman called Evangeline Adams, and she was said to be a descendant of John Quincy Adams. Anyway, she was an astrologer in the 30s, and she created quite a stir because at one time someone decided to bring charges against her. They said that the nature of astrology was something that was really undermining their belief system, and that it was against the Constitution of the United States. So instead of sort of bowing gracefully out and saying that she didn't want to get involved with this concept, or sort of backtrack on her belief a little bit, or her study, her science, because astrology I think really is a study and a science, she decided to go to court. And what was sort of interesting about it was that they couldn't really prove or disprove, right? The nature of astrology is one of those intangible things, rather like psychology. It's hard to say statistically exactly, what something is about. So what she did was, the judge asked her to do the horoscope of a particular individual, which she did, and she, talked about the individual and the difficulties that this person had had throughout their life, and her sense was that the person had probably died, and died rather tragically. Anyway, it turned out that it was the judge's son, and he had committed suicide. So anyway, this is the judge evidently let her off the hook.
It's like the judge in The Miracle on 34th Street, where all of a sudden, to prove Santa Claus, all the letters came into the courthouse down there. We're taking your calls, 241-1310, 241-1310. With the 12 astrologers, let's get to the phones first. Much easier to do it this way, much better. Lynn is calling from Mount Kisco, watching on cable channel 12. Date of birth, another Cancer person here.
Oh, my.
7776. July 7th, 1976. Lynn, good morning. You're on with Mary Michele.
All those sevens. Can you imagine if she'd been born in 77?
Oh, hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Lynn. Did you have a particular question?
Yes, actually, I was wondering, I just started a new job recently, and I was wondering how it would shape up.
Okay. July 7th. Oops. taking my own advice here. I went to 77 now. July 7th, 1976. Okay, you were born with the sun in Cancer and the moon in Scorpio. Okay, this is a harmonious angle. Your conscious and your unconscious work well together. The moon is in a water sign and the sun is in a water sign. So your emotions are pretty right on. You have Mercury in Cancer, Venus in Cancer, very Cancerian. Do you like to cook?
No, actually, I would burn down the house probably.
Well, there's a side of you that's very good at mothering. You know how to take care of people and nurturing. You know, all of this Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Cancer, your ability to take care and nurture other people is very strong. Do you feel that that's something that you do in the job that you're doing?
Yeah, somewhat.
Yeah?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay. Well, you're definitely somebody that's good at it. Mars and Virgo, this makes you good with computers. Your ability to analyze and synthesize. Your energy is about details. You know how to work well with details, and it's in a harmonious angle to all these planets in Cancer. And the moon in Scorpio. Jupiter in Taurus. You know, there should be some money attached to this new endeavor. You know, I mean, I'm not sure exactly how much, but there is expansion. You know, new things are coming in, your ability to grasp and get involved in new things. Saturn and Leo, you do not allow the child in you to come out enough. You have to learn how to be more... What?
That is true.
Yeah, you have to learn how to be more childlike. So it's all well and good to nurture everybody else and allow them to be children, but you have to be one. This is going to be a struggle. How old are you?
I'm 19.
19?
Yes.
Okay, well, it won't be a big struggle for some time to come, but eventually it's something that you're really going to have to cope with, this idea of being a child. You're going to have to learn how to be more, have more fun, really. What do you do for fun?
Right now?
Yeah.
Not much.
Okay.
Not much.
Well, you have to think about it. I know that thinking about having fun is not necessarily the way to do it, but try.
Okay.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you for calling, Lynn. Let her come to work here. She'll see what fun is. I don't know. Let's see. Sue is on the phone from Putnam Valley, watching on cable channel 12. Date of birth is April 24th, 1942. Now, this would be an interesting one with the cardinal numbers, you know, your magic number.
Yeah.
42442.
Yeah, it's like all
Sue, are you
connected.
there?
Yes, I am.
Good morning. You're on with Mary Michele.
Good morning, Sue. Did you have a particular question?
Yes, I was wondering if you could tell me what, like, my finances and stuff like that is going to be in the next couple of years.
If I could tell you what about the next couple of years?
About, like, how the finances and stuff like that, my family will be the next couple of years.
Okay. All right. 424. Okay, the sun in Taurus, the moon in Leo, that's a hard angle. The conscious, the unconscious. The moon in Leo, you know how to stimulate people, you know how to entertain people and get people going and so on. And probably your mother might have been a bit of an entertainer, and certainly, you know, maybe a party giver or somebody that was fun to be around. The sun in Taurus, though, doesn't always resonate to this. They like, you know, more of the sensual kind of things. It's not so much about the ideas of having fun. It's more about feeling good and feeling secure. Mercury in Taurus, Venus in Pisces. Venus is exalted in Pisces, and certainly the love that you've been giving out to others in the last couple of years probably has really felt like a bottomless pit.
Right.
It just, you know, there was nothing coming back. Again, the planet Saturn that was going through the sign of Pisces has moved on. So you don't have to feel anymore like you are being used and abused and walked over or whatever, because of the way that you give love, which is so compassionate and caring. Venus in Pisces is the most idealistic kind of love. So, you know, probably there's a combination of factors. You're feeling a little bit more practical about it, and also your family has just decided, or the people in your life, whoever it is that's been draining you, have decided that, you know, maybe it's not so much fun anymore. But the problem of when you have a hard transit like this is that you tend to remember it. You tend to, you know, stay with it longer than you need to. And it really is time for you to move on from this, because it's no longer as important as it was. The beginning of April was when this big shift happened. You're worried about the next couple of years with your family?
More like because of the economy and stuff like that. I was just wondering, you know, what does it look like for me?
Well, this year, have there not been any indications this year of money coming into you a little?
No, this has been a bad year. My husband hasn't been working and stuff.
But as of January, there was nothing new that happened.
Yes, as of January, things did change.
Yeah. It should, continue to get better. Now, the summer is not going to be that easy. You're going to have a little bit of stress and strain, and you're going to remember, as I said, you're going to continue to remember this emotional, how this left you kind of this void. But certainly in the fall, September, October particularly, I think you will have learned how to forget the bad parts, and things will start to come back to you in ways that it's time that they did.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so you just have to learn. It's about learning how to think about things differently, though. You have to take that initiative. Taurus is a fixed sign, and Leo, the moon in Leo, is fixed. So you have to learn how to be more bending in your ways of understanding yourself and others. Not more compassionate, because you're already good at that. You give a lot, but you have to give yourself new insight and new excitement and new ways of learning, new direction. And anything like that this year should be, come back to you threefold.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
thank you for calling. Mary Michele, you use the term, I'm not sure that you use the term exactly, but all I can think of is forgive. I can forgive, but I can't forget. And I'm wondering, are there certain astrological signs that say, you're going to hold this in the back of your mind, you're going to remember this for a long, long time, and when you really should be able to get rid of it?
Well, I think the four fixed signs, the Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, there is certainly with those signs more of a tendency to stay stuck wherever they are. Conversely, you see, the nature of astrology is that it's about opposites, really more with the planets, as I was reading in this book by the rabbi yesterday, than perhaps with the constellations, but we talk about it with the constellations too, the signs, the astrological signs, that, we go from one to the other, so that the nature of a fixed sign, like Taurus, for instance, we're in the month of May, it's the sign of Taurus, the person that just called was a Taurus. These people, the tendency is to stay with whatever it is that they're doing. Now, this can certainly help a lot in terms of longevity. It can mean that you will finish a project. You'll start things at the beginning and you'll go through to the end. The trouble is that you have to know when to let go of it, and particularly bad experiences. Whenever we've had a bad experience in life, our emotional memory, the part of us that sets up all those roadblocks and fear and keeps us from doing things the way we would like them to do, gets stuck. And you want to, all of that energy should go into the work in terms of creating more, instead of getting locked into the fear of how it's not going to work out for you.
All right, we're talking to Mary Michele, taking your calls at 241-1310. We're going to be back with Mary, Ellen, and Dennis just a couple of seconds away here at WVIP. Again, we do have an open line at 241-1310.
You could spend your weekends mowing the lawn.
Or you could spend them by the pool.
Let Fortunato's Lawn Care and Landscaping do the work for you.
Fortunato's Lawn Care and Landscaping, 232-1006.
Let the professionals with 25 years experience do your cleanup, lawn maintenance, and landscaping.
Fortunato's Lawn Care and Landscaping.
Outstanding workmanship.
Dependable and reliable service you can afford.
Fortunato's Lawn Care Landscaping.
It's the one lawn care service you can depend on.
Fortunato's Lawn Care and Landscaping, 232-1006.
Call today so you can start planning those summer weekends by the pool.
All right, let's get back to the phones. Mary Ellen is watching on cable channel 12 up in Somers. Date of birth is March 23rd, 1947. Mary Ellen, you're on with Mary Michele. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, fine.
Did you have a particular question?
I want to sell my house coming midsummer to late summer. Just wanted to know if it's a good time to sell and to rebuy something a little bit smaller, because my husband's retiring.
Okay. You have the sun and moon in Aries. This is what is known as someone born at the new moon. Your focus is very, very strong. Whenever you decide to focus on something, everybody else better get out of the way because you know what you need and what you want. Mercury in Pisces, now the mind sometimes might play a few tricks on you, and actually that probably helps a little bit so that it alleviates this strength of purpose that you can show sometimes. Venus in Aquarius, Mars in Pisces. Okay, so you have a Mercury-Mars conjunction. Again, this the last couple of years in terms of your way of thinking and your energy has been blocked. You haven't been able to, things have seemed considerably more chaotic. Very hard to initiate activity, which for an Aries must have been very, very difficult.
Frustrating, you might say.
What?
Frustrating.
Very frustrating.
Yeah.
I think, when is your husband's birthday?
January 13th, 42.
Okay. This year, I think your husband should make the decision.
Ah.
Okay, in terms of the house and the moving and all that kind of thing, I think if you let him take the initiative, there's a lot of luck around him and his ability to have good decisions about this kind of thing this year.
Oh, okay.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah, I think
that's great.
Let him take more of that.
It's funny you say that because usually he says you handle